Hi, welcome to Conspiracy Cases. I'm Jeff Dixon and I'm your host, where we look at conspiracies and cover-ups with the idea that they can be wildly entertaining stories. There may or may not be elements of truth in those stories, but at the end of the story, we're going to discover some real truth that helps us become who we're created to be. So these are conspiracy cases that get us to a point of life application that hopefully makes your life a little bit better. Today, I want to unpack a case for you that you may have never heard of. And one of the reasons is because it's so outlandish that even as you hear it, you say, no way people believe that. And I'm with you on that. So today, the case that we look at is the case of the Nazi moon base. The Nazi moon base. And I can hear what you're saying right now. You got to be kidding me. The Nazis didn't have a moon base. Well, toward the end of the Second World War, Allied airmen in Europe were astonished to discover strange craft that flew at speeds far in advance of their propeller-driven planes. The high-speed craft turned out to be Nazis' jet-engined Me-262 fighter, or on rare occasions, the Me-163 rocket plane. With the subsequent Allied takeover of Germany's military research facilities, the superiority of Nazi aeronautics and rocketry was confirmed. Now, in history, we know that to be true. You've heard the name Wernher von Braun. You've heard of Operation Paperclip, perhaps. But as advanced as they seem to be, and as cutting edge as they seem to be in the world of rocketry, the question is fair: was the Nazi science sufficiently far enough advanced to have sent men to the moon? Now we know that America didn't get to the moon until the 1960s. Yet, according to this conspiracy case, Nazis not only got to the moon, but they established a moon base there. Precisely where did the idea that the Nazis had mounted a moon mission is unclear. But in 1993, the president of the Academy of Dissident Sciences, Vladimir Terziski, published an article entitled, and I quote, "Half a Century of the German Moon Base." In this article, he said, and again, I quote, "The Germans landed on the moon as early as probably 1942, utilizing their larger exo-atmospheric rocket saucers. These were developed during the war. One had a diameter of 60 meters. It had 10 stories of crew compartments and stood 45 meters or 148 feet high." That's a direct quote. My response to that sounds to me like Alice in Saucerland. But yet, that is the report that came out. And the report came out, and again, I repeat the date to you, 1993. And so the idea was floated. It was supposed that the Nazis had put a moon base on the moon. And then it begs the question, well, how come the United States didn't see it when they arrived in the 60s? The answer for that, according again to the same article, is that they buried it. So ultimately, the Nazis established an underground moon base on the surface of the moon. And from there, they were able to then move beyond that onto Mars. And according to the reports, they had the help of alien spacecraft to do it. You say, well, that's the craziest conspiracy case I've ever heard. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's not so crazy that someone out there doesn't believe it, that it hasn't been reported, and that it hasn't been repeated. And here we are again, repeating it for you. If it's one that you haven't heard of, don't panic. It's okay. A spiritual lesson that we draw from this is that There's always someone out there that wants to deceive you, that wants you to misplace your trust. There's always someone out there who's willing to pursue power at any cost. And whether real or imagined, the idea of building secret bases on the moon symbolizes a human tendency to seek hidden paths to control and dominate. Spiritually, the parallels here are how some choose to deceive or take selfish routes in believing that power, defeating others, keeping things in secret can somehow bring about some type of fulfillment. The Bible teaches us something radically different than that. The Bible emphasizes truth and transparency and humility. And just as the moon reflects the light of the sun, we're called to reflect the light of Christ in our lives, according to Matthew chapter 5. Instead of pursuing hidden agendas, we're reminded to walk in the light. We're reminded to live in community and trust in God's plan rather than human schemes. Some people will go to extreme efforts, like portrayed in this moon-based conspiracy case. But at the end of the day, you have to remember this. The Nazis fell and were defeated. Indiana Jones didn't like them at all. And at the end of the day, the quest for worldly power will always fall short. But the pursuit of righteousness and faith in God leads to eternal security and leads to eternal peace. And so, in this conspiracy case, is it possible that the Nazis built a moon base? Possible, sure. Probable, not really. I think you can file this one as a case that has very little proof and validity, no matter what the report in 1993 actually said. But the lessons that we can learn from it and the things that it teaches us, those things will last a lifetime, and they are very real and very true. I look forward to joining you next time here as we unpack another conspiracy case.